Hello, Facebook. I am trying to get all my technology together real quick. This is the fun of having like 6 devices. You have to make sure they're all working properly and in the right spot. Let's see. I want to make sure that everyone is good to go for questions. All right. Shout out to my boss, Amy, who sent me a clicker. Hey, look at that. I don't have to turn around and touch my laptop anymore. So that's what I'm excited about on this Tuesday. So I know in the previous classes we've talked about Facebook specifically. We've talked about really broad social media, like what works best on which platform. And because we're in such a weird time right now where there's even more video happening on social media, I wanted to do a class that was really video specific, talking about the best practices for social video. Not that I've seen a lot of bad video out there, but lots of different video can be improved, and this one's no exception. My lighting's not the best in the world, but we work with what we have, and I've got a really awesome basement and this cool TV. So we work with what we have, and that being said, I do want to talk about how to engage our audience with video and why video is so important on social media. So that being said, oh my God, we've already got 12 people on here. It amazes me that I can just talk into a camera and there's actually people on the other end. So hello, people of Facebook. Thanks for watching me. This is a weird experience for everyone. Back when YouTube was first a thing, I wondered how people could just like talk into a device and still have a personality come through. So still working on that. Anyway, so the first thing I want to bring to everyone's attention is, we all know Mark Zuckerberg, God of Facebook. But this is a quote that he had just not too long ago. I see video as a mega trend. And that's something that we all need to take to heart, because not only are we all seeing lots of video on not only Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, but so are the big guys, right? They know that video is where we're headed and it's where we're gonna be. I talk a lot of the time about, even when we're watching a video on social media and it sucks us into that rabbit hole, it's hard to get out, right? We keep watching videos. As soon as one's over, another one starts playing. And that's something that your business can really take to heart, right? If we start utilizing video on our social media, we're gonna reach people that we didn't know that we could reach, and we're gonna make connections with them that might not translate in strictly images. So video is super important. Real quick, I wanna go over some of our learning outcomes for today. Goodness. Okay, so why video matters. You guys probably already know why it matters, but I just want to touch on it just a little bit, give you some numbers, give you an idea of the magnitude of video on social media. I also want to talk about some of the tools that you already have and some tools that you can get in order to make your videos maybe a little better. And also logistics. When you go and you start that video for the first time, what are some things that you need to keep in mind? Also going to talk about how video operates on different platforms. So usually when I teach this class in person, I'm really Facebook specific, but today I wanted to make sure that I was covering other platforms such as Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all of the awesome platforms that we're using. I'm not going to talk about TikTok. I don't know enough about TikTok to talk about it just yet, but that might be a few weeks from now. Maybe we'll have a TikTok Tuesday in the basement. But anyway, so we'll tackle TikTok on another day. Also, I want to talk about mentally preparing for a video. Sometimes it's not easy to click record and then be in front of the camera and talk to people. So I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to help that qualitative aspect of your videos. Before I get too far, I do want to mention that my boss told me that she would order me a Minsky's pizza if 10 or more people completed the survey. after this class. So you don't even have to watch the entire class. If you get on here, you watch for 10 or 15 minutes, you can still take the survey. The survey is in the link in the description of the video. Help me have a pizza. I love pizza. Pizza's, like Body by Pizza. We're good to go. So thanks, Amy, for the incentive. And please, please, please fill out that survey once you're finished watching the video. So why video matters. A lot of reasons. My biggest reason, right? So let's look at 2019. 80% of online content was video. That was last year, right? So let's think about everything that's happening right now in 2020, how much that number is going to go up. It's going to go even higher than 80, which is already an insane number to think about. But online video is taking over the internet, and we really need to jump on that bandwagon if we've not already done so. 90% of users say that watching product videos actually help them make buying decisions. I'm no exception to that statistic. When I go to buy a thing, I want to see somebody use the thing. I want to know all the little intricate details. Even if I'm gonna, hire someone to mow my yard, I would like to see the person in a video that I'm hiring to come do that. So a lot of buying decisions are made just through watching videos. So think about your customer and their end and how they use video, and that's going to help you shape your video content. And also, viewers retain 95% of a message when they watch it through a video, compared to only like 10% when they're reading text. And that's a huge difference, right? We already know the difference between 95 and 10. But think about that. How many times do we take a picture, we type a thing, we put it out on social media, and we hope that people are retaining that information and they're remembering it. And a week from now, they're like, oh yeah, that one business wanted me to go buy their thing on their website. Well, now we know it's only about 10% of the information they remember. So unless you're putting out a bunch of content and that 10% can steadily increase, it's really hard to catch people's attention. So we know that people watch video, 80% of the content on social media platforms, on the internet in general, is video content. So video is super important. We've got that covered. Let's see. So some of the biggest benefits about using video: trust and transparency. I mentioned this in another class, but when we watch videos and there's a person that is talking to us, somehow there's some trust that's kind of between the user and the person in that video. And that is something that a picture can't do. For an example, some of the people watching this video maybe have met me in person. Some of the people watching might be watching for the first time and they're like, Hannah, who? I don't know who this person is. That being said, I'm making sure that I'm talking to you, right? I'm looking at the camera, and I want you to see my personality, not only through the way my face looks, but through my crazy hand movements and through the inflections in my voice. Something about that helps you trust me a little more as a person than if I had just taken a picture and posted it online. And that's a weird human connection. And so again, knowing that as a business owner, we want people to trust our business, right? That's how we put money in our bank. But if they can't trust us, if they can't, really put their whole heart into who we are, it's harder, right? It's harder to get them to trust us. So again, when we're talking to people in video, there's some weird trust connection going on there. One of my favorite stories to talk about, again, I'm going to pick on my mom. I think I mentioned this in the last video. She watches a lot of QVC, Home Shopping Network, and she really thinks that those people are her friends, right? She calls them. She's like, hey, yeah, I would like to order 6 of those things that you're selling. And it's because those people in the videos have such great personality, and they're really coming across like they want their user to really benefit from whatever they're selling. And, that might be a sales technique, but it's also something that can be said for customer service, right? So if customer service is really, really important to your business, as it should be, video is another form of customer service. It's another form of connection that you can have with your customer. And we know that that's so important on social media, is to create those relationships, have dialogue with people, have those conversations. So video is super, super important. Also, the transparency end of it. It's a lot harder for me to lie to you when I'm talking to you. It's harder for me to cover things up. You're going to watch me stumble over words. You're going to see me look at my computer this way. Hey, I'm being completely transparent with you. I've got my phone here, my TV here, my laptop here, my other phone over here. There's a lot of things that a video can't cover up, and that's okay. It means we're real people and we're not too starched and professional that we come off as boring. This is something I want to cover, and if you are already bored of this video and you want to go do something else, number one, make sure to take the survey. Two, this is something that I really want everyone to pay attention to. So when we talk about the video marketing funnel, right, we talk about how we can collect people and keep them in our business. And that funnel is our page, right? It's our page, it's our different social media accounts, it's our blogs, it's our website, it's all those places where our customer can be. And videos, if we look at the 4 highlighted things here, we want to entice them with our videos, and that can be, a vlog, right? So maybe you have a YouTube channel that you update, or maybe that sits on your website. We want to make sure that we're putting out those social videos, and maybe we're doing some demos with some of our products or services. This is how we entice new customers, and then we move them down into interest, right? We've already pulled them in, now we need to keep their interest, right? So how do we do that? We give them information, we educate them on our products and services. We can have a special offer, we can do coupons, we can, have something really community based. So we've caught their attention, right? We brought them in, we kept their attention. Now how do we convert them into money, right? That's this one's hard, right? They might follow our page, they might like some of our content, but until they convert, it's the hardest one. So when we're talking to conversion, we're talking once we do a video on social media, maybe they're filling out some sort of contact form. Facebook has lots of forms that you can fill out when you're doing those ads, those sponsored posts. Show some value, really take a video, make it 3 or 4 minutes long, and really explain the value of your business. And what better way to do that than customer testimonials, right? So I go back to, I need somebody to mow my yard. I need someone to get the moles out of my backyard. Again, I think I've mentioned this in another video. Please, somebody tell me how to get rid of moles. But if I see that my neighbors are recommending someone, if I know that my coworkers are recommending someone, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I trust this person because I trust my neighbors and I trust my coworkers. So testimonials are huge. And if you can get those video testimonials, even better. That's going to help you with the conversion. And after we get all this, we don't want our customers to buy from us and then never hear from us again. So we need to continue with them, right? And this is where videos can be fun. They can show your company culture. We can talk about, some information, give them some educational aspects, some behind the scenes information on your business. And some of this customer only content is stuff that is maybe like an inside joke with your customers. Somebody who does this really well is Morgan Miller Plumbing. And, my dad's a plumber, so I can make fun of it. But, plumbers have a certain stereotype we all think about. And they really lean into that stereotype and they poke fun at themselves. And that, again, it helps build some sort of trust and transparency with their customer, and it keeps them really engaged. For the next time something crazy happens, then we convert that customer again. So this is the video marketing funnel. We need to remember this. This is super important because we can't keep people here. This doesn't make us money. And just posting this content doesn't make us money either. We need to constantly be in this rotation. All right. So I talked about using the tools that you already have, right? Guess what? We have cell phones. We have smartphones. We are already carrying around $1,000 cameras in our back pocket everywhere we go. So we don't have to go buy some really expensive video production equipment. We already have what we need. So making sure that you have your laptop with your little webcam in it works just fine. You've got your tablet, you've got your iPhone. Make sure that you're using those. you're already paying for it, right? You're already paying for it. Make sure that you're getting the most out of it. So I want to talk a little bit about how to get the most out of the tools that you already have. So in your smartphone, for example, we can go into our settings, whether you have an iPhone, an Android. I can't say so much for the flip phone. If you have a flip phone, that's great. Probably not going to be shooting the best video in the world, but give me an email and I'll maybe talk you into the benefits of getting a smartphone for your business. But if we go to our settings on whatever device you have and we go to our camera, then it's going to give us an option to film in HD. Now, the downside to this is that it takes up a lot more space on your phone. So if your iCloud is already full, if your storage on your phone is already like at capacity, this might be an issue for you. Video takes up a lot of space, and when we shoot it in high definition, it takes up even more space. But it's sometimes worth it to have beautiful imagery on your social media accounts. So what I would do is get a Dropbox, get an iCloud account, get some sort of drive where you can move some of your content over, shoot that high definition on your phone, upload it, and then back it up somewhere else, delete it off your phone. That's the best way to go about it. But we've all got those settings on our phone. If you have trouble finding it on your phone, please message us on here. We'll Zoom, we'll FaceTime, we'll Skype you, and we'll walk you step by step exactly how to find those settings. And it gives you lots of different settings, right? So it lets you know, okay, well, do you want to just shoot like something, like a medium speed, medium definition, or do you want like 4K, like beautiful images? Again, when we go to the best of the best, it's going to take up a lot more space. So consider that when you're shooting a video. The last thing you want is to be in the middle of filming a really awesome testimonial or a panel discussion or an interview with someone and your phone stop recording because it's run out of space. So we want to make sure that we have enough space on our phone to begin with, but definitely go high definition in your settings. Another thing we can do is play with the slow-mo and the time-lapse functions. When smartphones first did this, I lost my mind because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a professional videographer now. I can do all these awesome time-lapse videos. And I did, guys. And so time lapses can be really cool, whether you're walking in a certain direction, you're seeing a crowd coming in. If you're putting together something, a time lapse is really, really neat. So if you want to show somebody the process of what your service is in your business, absolutely try that time lapse. What that is, it just speeds up your video. So time lapse doesn't work really well if you only sit and take a video for like 10 or 15 seconds because it goes by so quickly. And then slow-mo. One of my favorite slow motion videos are my dog doing something crazy like catching a ball in her mouth. But that's because she looks really funny doing it. But some of the slow motion stuff can be really neat too. So if there's something in your business that actually goes by really quickly or is really beautiful, you might try looking at that slow motion feature on your phone and video it that way and see what that looks like. I can imagine it right now. You have this beautiful shot of something in slow motion, you overlay some text on top of it, and you've got a beautiful video for social media. Lovely for Instagram. So I've got a lot of ideas over here on iPhone photography and videography. Another thing that you're going to want to take a look at are apps, right? We have the App Store. We've got the Play Store. There are a million video editing apps, different apps for different functions. If you want to do slideshows, there's a million apps for that. So just to name a few, this is like 0.002% of what is on the App Store and the Play Store. So some that I use Cameo, I use Nutshell. Nutshell is really interesting. Basically, you just take like 3 pictures and you move your phone when you're doing so, and it puts together almost a little time lapse of those 3 things. Makes it really quick. You can throw some emojis on there, you can put your text on there, and it's created a video for you essentially, and you didn't have to work too hard at it. So that one's kind of fun. Slideshow Maker, again, if video is still a little scary for you, but you have a lot of images on your phone, you can create a slideshow using an app. iMovie, I have a Mac, I've got iPhone, so I use iMovie a lot. And that's going to help you edit together a bigger video. So if you're looking at promotional videos or event videos, you might think of looking at something a little larger like iMovie. Boomerang technically counts as a video, right? Because it's one movement that goes back and forth. And so you might have taken, 1 second to take a picture of something, but because it captures that movement back and forth, it counts as a video on social media. And so you're still going to get the boost with the algorithm, but you didn't actually have to work too hard. So Boomerang's really cool. Ripple is a newer one that people can, again, overlay text, do different shapes and colors on top of a video. It actually lets you shoot the video right in the app as well. So if you have any suggestions on apps that you use, feel free to drop them in the comments. My phone is full of video editing apps, and I always like playing with new ones. So let me know what you guys are using. Let's see. I would love to message you, Gabriella, about the settings on your iPhone, and I will do so right after this video. And Donna, is there a time-lapse setting? So yeah, on your camera, when you use your camera, it's going to probably default to photo. We're going to swipe until we see the time lapse, and then if we swipe the other direction, it'll say slow-mo. There's a lot of other things on there, like your panoramic. It'll give you a square, and that's usually for Instagram. So if you're just taking pictures, you want to use that square function. But yeah, so there's there's a lot of cool stuff on there. James says Splice is wonderful. I agree. Splice is super neat. Again, like these are highly recommended by lots of people that not only I work with, but what Google says as well. So definitely check some of these out. Let me know what you like, and I'll give them a go as well. Let's see. So logistics. I'm gonna spend a little time talking about like actually setting up your shot, right? So something that's really, really important is to make sure that you're in the correct landscape mode. So that means when you're getting ready to take your video, our hands want to do it this way. But dang it, if we could just turn the phone this way, this is going to give us that landscape, that horizontal view that we're all after. Why? Because look at the shape of this TV, right? When we're watching videos, we don't want those black bars on the sides of our videos because it makes all of our content super, super small on the screen. Small content does not get watched as long as taking up the entire screen. So make sure that when we're taking a video, we turn it this way. It's really awkward sometimes, but this is how we used to take pictures in the old days, right? So put it up to your eye if you need to, but definitely turn your phone in landscape orientation. This is gonna help your algorithms. It's gonna help you get boosted up to the top of everyone's newsfeed because more people will watch it. Another thing I want to talk about is framing. So I might not be giving the best example right now, but in your shots, when you're filming, whether it's yourself or someone else, you want to make sure that your shot is framed in a way that the subject of the video is not like way off in one side or really too small on the screen. So if this was a video that was just starring me and we didn't have this lovely presentation going on next to me, I would make sure that I was further over here and a little further up. I want to make sure that my face is taking up a majority of the screen. Now you don't need to be super close. This is creepy. That's way too close to someone. But we want to make sure that we're giving people a nice frame of what the subject of the video is. A thing that your iPhone will also do, or your smartphone, they bring up grids. So you can turn on the grid function, and that pulls up just a lovely little grid on your camera, and you can make sure that you're centering your subject, or you can offset them to the side a little bit and give a little background information. But you want to make sure that your framing is creative and artistic, and make sure that you're not super, super small on that screen. Zoom. We all love our phones because we can take a picture from 1,000,000 miles away. But when that happens, right, when we manually zoom on our phones to take a picture of something really far away, it gets super pixelated and fuzzy. Says any person that's gone to a concert ever, that has sat in the upper deck, that's tried to take a picture of the person in center stage. It's hard to do that, right? When we zoom in that far, the picture gets super pixelated and it falls flat. Same thing with video, right? So if we're zooming super far in on a video, we're losing that beautiful, aesthetically pleasing part of the video, right? We want to make sure that when we're zooming, we're physically getting closer to our subject matter, and that is just going to create a better video. So try to stop pinching your screen and trying to get closer to your subject. Just move your feet closer. Sometimes that looks really awkward. Sometimes you're really close to the person you're filming, but it's all for a better video. And so sometimes we have to be uncomfortable, but we need to be comfortable being uncomfortable, especially because videos in general are kind of uncomfortable. So make sure that we're paying attention to how much we're zooming on our phones. I lost my clicker, guys. Oh, here we go. Okay, some more stuff that I wanted to talk about. So flash, right? We know right now, flash, I have blue eyes, gives me red eye really bad. So I want to make sure that when I'm taking a video of myself that I have that flash off. It really washes me out, especially if I'm, already backlit really bad, and I'll talk about that here in a second. But we want to make sure that our flash, our cameras, that little flashlight on the back of your phone is off when we're doing video, because it really messes with the lighting of the entire video. Sometimes it washes people out. It gives these people a weird glow. They look like they're dead a little bit. So we want to make sure that the flash is off, and then we can go in there and we can touch our screens to pull in light from different areas. So if you want to play around with that, open up your camera on your phone, point it at something, and just start clicking in different corners of your screen, and you can see that it will be lit in different ways. And so we can do great lighting without the flash. Throw the flash away. Okay, backlight. Again, I talked about this in some of my other classes, but backlight washes people out again. So if I were to stand in front of this screen, I get really dark, right? So my face isn't lit the way it should be lit because all the light is coming in from in front of the camera. So we want to make sure that our source of light, our main source of light, is actually behind the camera, so the subject is well lit. So all those people that take pictures in front of big, beautiful windows or these awesome landscapes, sometimes they just look like a shadow or a silhouette because the light is in the wrong spot. So we want to make sure that the lighting is really, really good in a video, especially if we're going to be moving around a little bit. We want to make sure that the lighting is really great. Again, flash isn't going to help you on that very much because it's almost too much light coming in at one spot. But play around. I mean, just move around a little bit, figure out where the brightest source of light is, turn your back to it, and then video from there. Let's see. Don't use, oh, sorry. I won't lose the clicker, Amy. I should attach it to my hand permanently. Let's see. Audio. So audio, I know I talked about this in the other class too, but audio is so important when it comes to online videos, and the reason is because 85% of audio is actually not even listened to during a video. So we all know this, right? We're in the grocery store and we're watching a video and we're not listening to it, no matter what that video is. Even today, I watched a lip sync battle with John Krasinski. Awesome. He did Tina Turner. But I watched the entire thing without any of the sound on, which is not the point, but I did it anyway. I don't know why. It's human nature, but we know this, right? So we know the audio is really, really important. So how do we battle this huge audio problem of 85% of videos are watched with the sound off? Option 1, don't have audio, right? We can just go through and we can say, you know what, I'm not putting any audio in this video. It's all going to be strictly visual. Maybe you're a restaurant owner and you want to do a panoramic of all the people sitting in your restaurant. Not now, obviously. But when we're all back eating at awesome restaurants and everybody's happy and making lots of money and very healthy again, but you want to do some maybe beautiful panoramic of your restaurant, or maybe you're doing some food videography and you're showing somebody eating, but that doesn't necessarily have to have any audio behind it, because you can say everything you need to say in the description of that video. So that's one option. Another option are subtitles. Love subtitles. One, because it's accessible for everyone, even though it's hard of hearing. So when we add subtitles to our videos, sometimes that gets a little tricky. We can do that one of two ways, right? We can go in there and we can do it manually using some third-party app or some software. Might take a lot of time. I can't tell you how many videos I've listened to and had to transcribe word for word. And if I'm not a very fast typer, so I have to listen to the video lots of times, and by the time I'm done with it, I never want to see that video ever again. Sorry for all the people that I videoed in the past that I put subtitles on you. It's enough to drive anybody crazy. The cool thing is that a lot of social media platforms are actually rolling out their own version of subtitles. So it'll let you upload that video, click subtitles, like create these subtitles for me, and it will, just not always super accurately. So if you think that that's an easy way out, it's not. You're still going to have to go in there. You're going to have to manually edit those subtitles, and you're still going to have to watch that video a few times to make sure that those subtitles are actually correct. So that's another option. Probably the easiest option is to just ask your audience, hey, watch this with the sound on. And you don't do that in the video, right? Because they're not even listening to it to begin with. But make sure that in the description of that video, you let people know sound on. Like, watch this with the audio. The audio is very important. And then say what you need to say in your video. Hopefully you help beat that 85%. But yeah, so audio is super important. There is one other option when it comes to audio and how to, if you're not interested in doing any of these, make the video so freaking good in the first 3 seconds that people cannot help themselves. They're so overcome with emotion that they have to click on the video and listen to it. And that is by far the hardest thing to do on social media because there's so much content out there and we scroll at the speed of light. So that is a difficult feat to achieve, but if you can do it, you're going to start making better videos and you're going to really, your customer is going to be attracted to your Facebook page, your Instagram page, your Twitter page, your Snapchat account, and they're going to start watching all of your videos. So if you can get to that point, awesome. I'm not at that point. I still have to ask people, hey, sound on, or I throw a lot of subtitles on a lot of stuff as well. So that's always something to consider. Let's see. All right, so I wanted to go through and talk about some of the video platforms that we can use. Facebook's a big one. There's 2 billion people using Facebook on a monthly basis, and so Facebook seems like a really natural place for us to go when we're talking social video. Just some tips on Facebook specific video. Not super specific, but be visual, right? Like, Facebook is still a very visual platform. We want to make sure that everything looks good. We don't want a super dark video or a video that isn't framed correctly or is in the wrong landscape, but we want to make sure that we're being super visual when it comes to our Facebook videos. Another thing we can do on Facebook is create playlists. So this is something that Square One has just started doing, so we might not be the best people to look to right off the bat, but we've started doing a lot of our passive programming videos in other languages. And so we want to make sure that we have a Spanish playlist, a Arabic playlist. We want to make sure that we're connecting with our audience, but all of their content is in one spot. So if you have a series that you're doing, that you're creating a lot of videos for, you can create a playlist and so people can watch them in order, or all their content is in that one spot. So playlists are really cool. They're pretty unique to Facebook. Another thing that we can do on Facebook is add a featured video. And so that's something that's going to pop up almost the first thing on your page when they're looking at your content for the first time. That featured video, you want to make sure that it is number one, a good video. It's got to be a good one. You don't want those, again, with black bars on the side. You want to make sure that it's a really great, well-executed video. But you also want to make sure that this video tells a story. It really captures your audience. And you want to make sure that it's actually getting engagement too. When we have a featured video that doesn't have any likes or comments or shares, it shouldn't be a featured video, right? We need to make sure that the best of the best is that featured video. If you're an events-based company, kind of like Square One, we're very events-based. So we want to make sure that our featured video is the video that correlates with the next big event that we've got coming up. So those featured videos can rotate, whether on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis, whatever works for your business, but make sure to use that function. It gives people that have visited your page for the first time kind of an insight to who you are as a business. Native video. So native video means we're uploading video directly to that platform. So when we're talking about Facebook, if you've taken your video using your super dandy phone, you share it, and you upload it directly to Facebook. That means that file lives on Facebook. People can get a little lazy sometimes. I get it. business owners are wildly busy and they sometimes don't have enough time to really consider the consequences of taking the shorter route. But what I've seen a lot of people do is upload that video on their phone to YouTube. That way it can live on YouTube. And then they copy that YouTube link and then they share it to Facebook. Well, YouTube is owned by Google. Facebook is trying to take over the world, right? And Facebook and Google are huge competitors. So when we are, on YouTube and we are like, oh, I'm going to share this to Facebook and everybody will watch it, they'll go to YouTube and watch it. They might if they would see it. But the thing is Facebook's not showing that content to anyone. They don't want you to get people to go to their competitor's site. So they're just not going to show it to as many people. So if you've had a horror story, I certainly have, where you have thought it was a good idea to copy that YouTube link onto your Facebook page and try to get people to watch the video that way, and you've realized, okay, why isn't this getting any engagement? Why aren't I seeing any conversions on this site? It's probably because Facebook's actually working against you on that. So we need to make sure that when we're uploading video, we're doing it natively, we're uploading it to Facebook, we're uploading it to Instagram, we're uploading it to Twitter, to LinkedIn, to Snapchat. We're doing it to all those separate places. It will make a huge difference. Gerald, what video app is the most user-friendly for editing for older gentlemen? Well, Gerald, I don't think you're that old, and I know you're pretty tech savvy, so there's a lot of apps out there for a variety of people. But if you're looking for something a little simpler, try Vimeo, try Cameo. Those are really, really broad topics, and I would love to email you and let you know what I'm using and maybe what might be a little easier for you to do on your end. But what I would suggest for anyone, not just Gerald, is to get on your App Store, your Play Store, and just type in like video editing or video apps and see what pops up. Download like 3 or 4 of them if you have the space on your phone to do so, and then spend the next 30, 45 minutes playing around with each of them, see which one you like better, and then delete the other ones and have that, that winner as your main app. So another tip on Facebook is remembering your call to action, right? So again, at the end of the video, whether that be in the description or whether it's the audio in the video, whether it's the text on the screen, you want to make sure that you let people know what they're supposed to do next after that video. So maybe you gave them some really awesome information. Maybe you gave them some behind the scenes information. What's the next step you want your audience to take? Is it stay tuned for our next video? Is it, hey, check out more on our website? Is it buy now? Is it email us? Is it learn more? But let people know how to take that next step. If we don't tell them what the next step is, they're gonna watch the video, they're gonna be done with it, and they're gonna keep scrolling. And so really think about what your goals for creating the video are, and then use that call to action at the end. We wanna make sure that we actually convert some of those people. When we remember that funnel, we need to get them to the next step. So that call to action is gonna be super, super important. All right. YouTube. YouTube's huge. It's been around a really long time, and yet 2-year-olds are obsessed with it. So YouTube's really interesting. Some of the tips that I've got on YouTube specifically is really targeting your audience, and I say that because YouTube is huge. The 2-year-olds are on it, the 90-year-olds are on it. Everybody is using YouTube in a different way, and so we need to make sure that when we're uploading videos to YouTube, we're making sure that our audience is super, super specific, because we're not after the 2-year-olds or the 90-year-olds most likely. We want to make sure that our video is for our customers and you're giving them the information they want. When we start trying to appeal to the masses, that's when fewer people are going to start watching your videos and sharing your videos. We need to be interactive. So again, when we're talking YouTube, we're talking to our customer. We're letting them know how to engage with us. We're smiling. We're making good eye contact. And we need to be consistent on YouTube. Really, really important. If you say that you're going to be posting every Monday afternoon, make sure that you're posting every Monday afternoon. If you've got some sort of series that you're doing, consistency is so important, because if you miss one time, you've kind of broken that trust, right? You've broken the trust that you worked so hard to build up. So make sure that we're super, super consistent when it comes to videos, especially on YouTube. And also be searchable. Again, because YouTube is the actual, it's the second largest search engine. Google, YouTube, and then Facebook. But people are going on YouTube to learn how to do things. They're how-to videos, demonstrations, product and service videos, but they're using it as a search engine. So we have to make sure on a business end, we have to be searchable. So that means using keywords. It means titling your videos in an appropriate way. You don't want to have a really short, vague title of a video, because if it's too vague, it's going to get lost in all the content on YouTube. But if it's too specific, and if you're using really specific jargon from your business, your customers might not know to search for that specific word. So we need to make sure that we know our audience, so we know what to title and how to describe that video. And it's got to be shareable, right? All of our content that we put out on any social media needs to be shareable content. But the way we do that is, again, by knowing our audience, know what their motivations are for watching your video. If it's a how-to video, they're watching it to learn how to do a thing. And we make that shareable by saying at the end, that call to action, like, if you know someone who needs help with their XYZ, please share this information with them, right? We want to make sure that it is appealing to our customers, not necessarily everybody, but we need to make sure that it is a shareable piece of content. Tanya, yes, I will. This is going to live on Facebook for infinity years, so feel free to share this with them. And if you would actually like a link to the presentation, I can send you that as well. Just shoot us a message on here, and we'll make sure that you've got access to that. Video on Instagram. So video on Instagram is a little different than video on other platforms, and we know that because Instagram is so visual. Everything's so beautiful and pretty, and there's a lot of food pictures, and everything's just gorgeous, right? It's a very visually stimulating app. And so knowing that, when we're making these videos, one, we want to make really visually stimulating videos, but we also need to reduce the words. So when we're typing that description, we don't need some huge long description. We need to focus on the visual component of that video. So reduce some of your words, stay on theme. If your Instagram page has a theme, we definitely need to stick to it. An example is there's a lot of like travel themed Instagram pages or food themed Instagram pages. Well, if there was a travel themed Instagram page and then they started showing videos on, them outside playing basketball in their backyard, that's not necessarily it doesn't make sense with their theme, right? So if your Instagram page has a theme, if your business page has some sort of overarching theme, we want to make sure that we're at least consistent with that theme, or else it's not really going to match all of the other content that you've curated on that page. So staying on theme is really, really important. And also just kind of keeping it simple. Again, Instagram's very different from Facebook because Facebook kind of collects all of the content. Instagram just wants one beautiful picture, right? It just wants one beautiful thing. Facebook, you can upload an entire album of whatever. Instagram's all about the one simple, beautiful, just let it speak for itself image or video. And so sometimes keeping it simple, letting it kind of breathe for itself is something that does really, really well on Instagram. Let's see. Maintaining focus. Again, not specifically targeted just to Instagram, but when we're creating videos, sometimes it's easy for us to get off track. It's easy for us to forget the goal of the video in general. We need to make sure that we have that goal in mind when we're creating the video and also when we're ending the video. Very, very important. When we lose focus, we start rambling. I do it more than anybody. But when we start rambling and all of a sudden we've ended the video completely separately from how we've started the video. So stay on topic, maintain your focus for that short period of time. And again, with Instagram, we want to make sure that those videos are actually under a minute, or else we're going to cut off and it's going to push you out to like Instagram watch, right? So most people, I don't know the specific statistic on that, but I know that when I'm watching an Instagram video and it cuts off, I'm most likely going to keep scrolling because I've watched enough. I don't have to, I don't want to have to click on a thing to go somewhere else and watch the remainder of that video. So as a business, if we keep it nice and short, people can watch the entire video and they can scroll on with their lives. Hashtags work really well on Instagram. They also work well on Twitter. But when we're talking videos on Instagram, if we're trying to reach an audience that doesn't already follow us, hashtags are super, super important. Hashtags are wild. So a great example is, hopefully September, October rolls around, football season's getting ready to go, fingers crossed, and maybe you guys are going to have a tailgate at your business parking lot. And you can do a short little video on maybe the food you're going to prepare, and you can hashtag KC Chiefs, hashtag Chiefs Kingdom, hashtag Patrick Mahomes, whatever. But when we use those hashtags, people follow those, maybe people that you don't already know. And so that's kind of where the party is. When we start using those hashtags in our own post, we're branching out into other circles of people that might see that content. They might see, oh, this business supports the Chiefs. I love the Chiefs. Maybe I need to learn more about them. What happens? They get boosted to your Instagram page, and all of a sudden maybe you might have a new customer. At least somebody that follows your page, right? And we can get them in that marketing, that video marketing funnel. But hashtags are really important. If you guys have any specific questions on hashtags, again, please message me. I would love to do a deep dive on hashtags. Maybe that'll make another Tuesday video class. That could be fun. Let's see. Snapchat. Snapchat's newer, but it's constantly changing, just like any platform on social media. But video works really, really well on Snapchat, just like it does on Instagram and Facebook. But something a little different on Snapchat is when we're using those videos, number one, we're allowed to do it this way. We're allowed to hold our phones vertically. We're allowed to, exist in this vertical landscape. Another thing we want to do when we're telling that story is use text. So on Snapchat, once you take that video, you can add text to it. And so maybe you're explaining something, maybe you're saying something really funny. We can do emojis, we can add GIFs onto it. So you can really personalize your video on Snapchat, which is kind of fun and, cool. But Hannah, why would I use Snapchat? Well, I don't know. But maybe your customer's on Snapchat. And if they are, behind the scenes content works really, really well on Snapchat. Because we know that on Facebook, we've got a lot of followers. We're putting out our sales content, maybe a Monday motivation quote. We're putting out a lot of content on Facebook, but we're not necessarily showing them what happens, behind the counter, behind the scenes. And so show them some of this stuff using Snapchat, because it goes back to that trust and transparency. If you can show somebody how the food is made, or, what kind of equipment you're using, or what kind of special, crazy knowledge you have about your business, share that with them on Snapchat. You can share it with them on any platform, but Snapchat is a really cool platform to use when it comes to that type of content. Something kind of crazy about Snapchat, right, is this 24-hour relevancy. So if you're trying to stay with what's trending, you want to make sure that you're doing it right now. Because 24 hours from now, it's going to be completely different. So if I were to do a Snapchat right now, I were to talk about, hey, I'm doing this cool thing, check out all this cool stuff in my basement. 24 hours from now, that video's gone, right? And so that's something that Snapchat was founded on, is that it deletes quickly. But that being said, it's not a lot of sales posts, right? Because if we're selling something, if we're spending a lot of time on a video for it just to be wiped clean the next day, that's not what this platform is for. It's for real, in the moment, real conversations with your customers. It's laughing, it's humor, it's entertainment. It's showing them something that they are not seeing with your other social media platforms. Keeping it real, right? We have to make sure that we're human, we're talking to our customer. Again, Snapchat's a fun platform. So if you have a fun aspect of your business, if you have a funny coworker, if you have people that are really funny on camera, or they're entertaining in some way, or if you have a cat in your bookstore, oh my God, put that cat on Snapchat. I want to see the cat. But there's a lot of cool things that we can do with Snapchat. I've not gotten a ton of questions on Snapchat. It's because a lot of people are confused on how they can use that for their business. But if we keep in mind
that we don't have to do all of the things on all of the platforms all of the time. We can have these platforms and we can use them for different, varieties of content. And so if we use Snapchat as this fun behind the scenes content, that might give your business a reason to even have the platform to begin with. But I will say you don't have to do it all. Definitely, don't stress yourself out with trying to download all of these apps and trying to maintain all of these platforms. It's hard enough to manage one Facebook account, but to have to manage a bunch of different social media accounts, it can get a little overwhelming. So do what works for you, do what works for your customers. I do want to talk about, thank you, Tina. Let's see. Shanita, do I use software for generating hashtags? I don't use software, I just Google it, right? So there's a lot of different websites out there that will let you know if you're going to use this hashtag, here are 20 other hashtags that might work for you. So I do my research via Google. Dr. Google lets me know exactly what hashtags I need to be using. And Twitter will do the same thing as well for you. If you go on there and you type in a hashtag and, it'll show you who's using it. I'm sorry, my dogs are like right outside and they're really freaking me out. They're staring in at me. Sorry. Yeah. So hashtags, if you Google them, they'll give you a list. On Twitter, if you type them in, they'll let you know how many people are using those hashtags. How many, if there's only like 1,000 people using it, probably not, a great hashtag to use. If there's tens of thousands or 100,000 people using the hashtag, go for it. Hashtags on Facebook. They are functional, yes. They do work on Facebook, yes. But that's not how people are using Facebook. I might get some feedback on this that's maybe, negative, but in my personal opinion, I say keep the hashtags off Facebook. Facebook is for content, lots of content really quickly. People aren't searching for hashtags on Facebook. They are searching for hashtags on Twitter and Instagram. So in my humble opinion, keep the hashtags off Facebook. That's not to say they don't work. You can still use them like you would on any other platform, but that's just not how people are engaging with Facebook in that way. All right. Where are we at? Okay. Mentally preparing. So this is kind of the qualitative portion of the video, but I want to make sure that everyone's comfortable using video. It's not always the most fun thing to do, to be in front of a camera, being kind of vulnerable with your customers. But if you can remember these 3 things, you're going to do okay, right? Eye contact might be hard for you, like it is for me, but when we talk to our customers and it's eye contact with the camera, right? So that's kind of uncomfortable for a lot of people, but it means that I'm talking to you, right? I'm really connecting with my customer, and there's a lot to be said about eye contact. And smiling. I really hate to tell people to smile because I'm like, you don't have to smile if you don't feel like smiling. But when we have a friendly face, when we are, smiling and we look like we're having, a happy look on our face and we're having a good time, our customers are likely to have a good time too. And it shows that we've got a approachable, friendly personality, which is something that I'm guessing most business owners want to appear as happy and friendly and approachable. And then just relax, right? Right before you click record, just take a deep breath, let it out, meditate on it a little bit. But nothing's the end of the world. My dogs have completely freaked me out. They've thrown me off really, really bad. But there's nothing that has happened in the last, 45 minutes that are just so terrible that I have to go hide myself away from the world for the rest of my life. Things happen on video that can be undone. Things happen on video that you might not like for yourself, but maybe your customers thinks, it's charming or, funny. I really don't like the sound of my voice, especially when I hear it back, when I hear it through video. I purposely don't leave people voicemails because I'm like, I'll just call them back because I don't want them to have to listen to my terrible, terrible voice. The thing is that we're scientifically proven to not like the sound of our own voice. But I know that people don't really have a problem with my voice. That's something, it's a mental barrier that we have to get over. So sometimes we just need to take a breath, try to relax, click record, and say what we need to say. Some more stuff with mentally preparing is have a plan. Now, this is not to say have a script, right? We don't need to have a word for word script on exactly what we're going to say in exactly what order, and then we're going to point to this bullet and we're going to look back at the camera. But do have a general idea of what you want to talk about. So, make sure you've got your 3 points and you're going to hit those in, whatever aspect you're going to hit them. But if you go live or if you start a video with no direction whatsoever, you've lost your focus. You probably don't have a goal for the video in the first place. And without those two things, you're probably wasting your own time because customers aren't going to watch that video. So really have a plan when it comes to creating a video. And know your surroundings. All right, cool. Thanks, Erica, for responding to all these awesome questions. So knowing your surroundings. I know that right now, your focus is probably here. It's also here. Maybe you're checking out what's behind me. But when we create videos, we need to know what's in the background of our videos because sometimes the attention gets pulled to different parts of that video. So one of everyone's favorite videos, right, is the guy from BBC who his kid came in when he was doing an interview and dancing, got the cute little glasses on, and he totally lost track of what was happening. And then the other kid came in, and I mean that was 2 or 3 years ago, and it's everybody's life right now in quarantine. But that being said, we need to know our surroundings. If we can turn off the background music, if we can lock the doors, if we can make sure that there's not any crazy stuff happening in the background. I know what's in my background and I like it, so I keep it there. But knowing what your surroundings look like are really, really important. So something to keep in mind. Also, try not to be too stiff, right? If I'm sitting here and I'm like, hello, my name is Hannah. I work with Square One at Mid-Continent Public Library, and today I'm going to be talking about videos. That's not fun for you guys to watch, and it's not fun for me to be tense the entire time. So just try to shake it out a little bit. It goes back to relaxing and breathing and really just trying to be as comfortable as you can. But being too stiff makes you come off as kind of starched and professional, and you're not really connecting with your customer. Which brings me to the last point, is always keeping your customer in mind. If you're creating a video because you think it's going to be a great video, check yourself real quick. Are you creating the video for you, or are you creating the video for your customer? And you always have to keep the customer in mind when it comes to that video. So when you're creating videos, we have our goal, we stay focused, and we always have our customer in mind. Probably the most important thing, we have to try new things. When we don't try new things, we don't get better at new technologies. We let fear kind of dominate our lives. I get scared sometimes when it comes to trying new things, but we know that technology is always changing. Facebook changes every single day. The internet changes every single day. Our smartphones, they become obsolete in a few years, and we have to learn something new. When we're being forced to learn something new, it's not always comfortable, but we're better business owners because of it. So let go of some of that fear associated with creating video for social media. If you need help, please reach out to Square One. We would love to have a video chat with you and help you create that first video for the first time. I can't tell you how many times that I've met with a business owner. They're like, nope, my face is not going on social media. I go, it's called Facebook for a reason. We are meant to put our faces forward in our social media accounts. So please, we want to hear from you. We want to meet with you. We want to answer your questions. We're here for you. The library doors might be locked, but we are still available virtually. Zoom, Skype. You want to FaceTime. You want to old school phone call, we'll do that too. We'll do whatever we can to answer your questions. And again, if you guys have any feedback, please, I want that pizza so bad. Please fill out the survey. We are really looking forward to some of the content that we're going to create in the next couple weeks. Next week, I'm going to be talking about Canva. I know that I've talked about Canva a lot in the previous classes, and so I'm creating a Canva class for all of you who have not touched Canva before, or they want to try to get started with Canva. So if you want to create, different images for social media, or you're creating event banners or flyers or posters or business cards or logos or whatever, you're trying to create, Canva is a great option for you, and that's what I'm going to be talking about next Tuesday. That being said, please fill out the survey. Please let us know what we can do for you. And again, if you guys have any questions, reach out to us. We are always available. See y'all later.